JG3 Reviews. My name is James, and I do fountain pen, ink, and paper reviews. And today I'm going to do a little bit of travel what's in the pen case, which may come as a big surprise to you, and I'll explain that in just a second. First, you're going, that doesn't look like Texas. No, this is not Texas. This is the coast of Cambodia on the Gulf of Thailand. Is that beautiful or what? I could get used to this. This would be all right. But I'm just here for the weekend. And while I'm traveling, I am taking up a challenge. And that challenge was issued by a subscriber who goes by the name of Dark Chocolate. She mentioned in the comments not that long ago about, okay, stop. In the last week, I turned 51, and apparently at 51, you start having an increase in brain farts. And so in my introduction here of today's video, I kept saying the wrong name of the channel where the 1 pen, 1 month, 1 ink, 1 month, pen, ink, well, see, the fart thing is happening again. Anyway, I kept saying the wrong name. It was Inky Rocks. Inky Rocks. Inky Rocks. That's whose channel I was pointed to in regard to the 1 pen, 1 ink, 1 paper, 1 month challenge. Okay, there. I think maybe I got it right this time. We'll see. And how over on that channel they had taken the challenge of 1 pen, 1 ink, and 1 paper for a month. And I went over and I watched and I was intrigued and I decided to take that challenge up, but with one modification that actually at Inky Rocks, she said that she would make next time, and that is not limiting to 1 paper, but 1 pen, 1 ink for 1 month. I'm only halfway through, so I'm not going to do the whole this is what I learned yet. I'll do that when I've finished learning. But there are a couple of things I want to share with you, including a problem I had from the get-go. And I'll share those with you and give you an update on how that worked as we go through the video as well. So flip the camera and look at what's in the bag. First, what case did I bring? This is the Cubix pen case with a large section on one side and then the smaller pen holding section on the other. It's really durable. It's pretty soft, so I mean there's a lot of air in there with what I'm carrying today, but it's a good case. It's not necessarily my favorite, but I do really like it, and it suited this trip better because there was room for some of the things that are in that larger side that I wouldn't have had in some of my other pen cases. So good for travel, carrying a variety of items, not just pens. Okay, so that's what I brought. Let's go to the big side first, and I'll tell you, because you're going to see it inside this big side, what ink I chose for the challenge. For the ink, I went with Diamine Majestic Blue, and that's what I have here in the flight-friendly baggie, you see. And I chose cartridges for this challenge. That was one of the characteristics that I wanted in a pen, was I wanted it to be an international cartridge compatible pen, because I was going to use this ink in these cartridges, so you know, obviously has to fit, and that gave me a wide variety of pens to choose from that I already owned. So that was another part of the criteria, was I only wanted a pen that I already own. I only wanted one that was cartridge compatible. Love that ink, great shading, great sheening, well behaved on most paper, and that's how I chose that particular ink. It's a work-friendly ink, but it's not boring on most papers. So that is in here. I also have a Sakuri stitcher. This is a stapleless stapler from Japan. I love this one. It's nice and sturdy, and that's what I like about it. It does an awesome job. If you're not familiar with these, let me just grab a piece of paper over here and show you what it does. Instead of using a staple, it folds the paper. It punches and folds, and if you need it to be stronger, you just do that twice, and then you don't have to refill it. You don't have to worry about anything like that. These are fantastic and very handy when you're traveling. I think the maximum is 3 to 5 sheets of most papers, but you know, that's like 90% of what I do anyway, so perfectly usable on a trip like this, and handy to have just in case I need it. And then of course I have a big multi-pen, this one with the pencil, because this pen lives in this case. So no matter where the case goes, the pen goes with it, whether I wanted it, thought about it, needed it, or not. And that makes for great backup. But what's on the other side of the case. That's the side you're probably most interested in. What pen am I using for a month? I think the choice will actually surprise you. So I mentioned international cartridge compatible was the decision I made, in part because of the ink that I chose, and it needed to be inexpensive. I did not want a pen that if I lost it on the trip, broke it on the trip, whatever, I didn't want it to be one that I would regret losing or not really want to spend the money to replace. A losable pen, and I mean that in a good way, affordable, losable, but not boring pen, not boring. Also, really important. So I wanted a good medium nib. I had to already own the pen. It needed to be fairly inexpensive to replace, durable. A clip is not important because I wasn't going to be carrying it back and forth to the school where I'm teaching. I was just going to use it at the desk, so clip wasn't important. And that matters with this particular pen because I chose the TWSBI Swipe. It's lightweight. If I do want to throw it in my pants pocket or in the backpack, it's not any big deal. It's durable because it's plastic. It's nice and light. And even though you wouldn't think it's that important for a cartridge pen, the fact that it has an ink window, as you can see, it's a usable ink window. I actually kind of like that. Now, I mentioned that the clip is not important, and that's actually very relevant to this pen because as far as I'm concerned, this pen is 95 or more % unusable as far as the clip goes, kind of like the Keiko Edge. It doesn't open up enough and it just doesn't really work all that well. It's a very stylish roll stop and on a few materials, a usable clip. However, they say not to put it in a pocket where the material is more than 1 millimeter thick, and that makes it, not that usable. So I don't use the clip, which is what made it very interesting because when I went to get this pen and to clean it out, make sure it was ready to go for the trip and that there was no ink inside, I discovered cracks at the cap. There were 2 on one side. I'll throw up pictures because this is not the original cap, but there were cracks on both sides. Stress cracks, obviously, and at the top, which I think is weird because I don't use the clip. The only time I ever did was in the initial review of the pen, and those cracks were not there during or after that review, so very odd. But good news to that problem. I contacted TWSBI, and right away they said, that is unusual, but we will send you a cap under warranty. And so they sent me a cap from the factory. It took probably the better part of 2 weeks to get to the US from Taiwan, but I got a replacement cap right in time for the trip because I wasn't going to bring it with the cracked cap, and all has been good. So that's my first experience with warranty coverage from TWSBI, and they did a great job, great communication, and I appreciate that. So it's been a great pen, and I will show you how it writes here in just a second, how it does with the ink. But what else is in that case? This is everything else in the case, and it's not a lot. So I have a mechanical pencil, the Zebra Delgard. I'm always torn between that and the Kurutoga, so I have one in this case, and that's the Delgard, and I have the Kurutoga in another pen case, and whichever case I grab, that's the pencil I get. And this very fountain pen friendly Sharpie wax-based highlighter. Love those, cheap and very good at what they do. And then I have a Zebra Sarasa, and this is the really nice, I think, metal version. It's a lacquered metal pen with a really great durable clip. So if I need a clip, this is definitely the go-to pen on this trip. It's a really nice click. I should review this pen in whole sometime, but just a great one, but not with the original refill. The refill I have in this pen is a 1 millimeter navy blue, and boy, do I really like that refill, as I'll show you here in just a second. Then one of my favorite really cheap pens is the Uniball One, another gel pen. This is a 0.5 millimeter gel pen with that very good paper clip style clip that fits over a lot of paper or any notebook cover, whatever you need it to do. And I have used this a lot while teaching class, just to make notes as I'm teaching of things that I want to put on the final, that sort of thing. So just a great pen. Here's a quick writing sample of those pens. So the Uniball 0.5, I forgot to write that part down, on the Uniball One navy blue, nice dark blue, and that zebra serasa. And it's a wet pen too. It almost writes, the ink almost has like a fountain pen quality to it when you write on things like this Tomoe River paper. And then you have the Twisby swipe with that majestic blue, and it shows up really well on this paper to the naked eye, but I'm not sure that with the funny lighting I have here that you're really going to be able to see it. But there is a nice red sheen to this ink on most papers. Now, if you use a cheaper paper, then you kind of lose that and you just get a nice blue. And then I have one little quick review that I want to give you that is a total bonus. It has nothing to do with pens, paper, or anything like that. It has to do with travel and food, and that is this. If you are at a gas station in the middle of Cambodia and you just think, you know, just a little something salty, a little something crunchy, I'd like to get just a quick snack, what would you get? Well, I had two choices. I could get hot chili squid Lay's potato chips. I wasn't sure about that one. Or I could get spicy lobster. Well, I'll probably still try the hot chili squid because I just like that when I travel. But I gotta tell you, these are better than they ought to be. I actually think these are great. They have a little bit of a chili, spicy bite to them, but it's not overly hot. And then there's a mild, subtle, oddly good lobster finish. Who knew Lay's spicy lobster potato chips are a thing? And they ain't that bad. All right, God bless you. Have a great week. And I'll see you in the next video.